Good morning. Welcome to a live edition of Your Life, Your Voice. My name is Julie Skiveris, and I'd like to welcome my co-host, Gule Al-Chalbis. Hi, Gule. How are you doing?
Well, thank you.
That's great. And I'd like to welcome our guest speaker for today, Anthony Rako. How are you, Anthony?
I'm good, thank you. Good to be here.
That's great. So, how about we start off with doing acknowledgement of country? Claire, would
Yes.
you like to make me co-host?
Okay, I'll try and do that. Yes.
Thank you. Acknowledgement of country. The Do Your Life, Your Voice project acknowledges the traditional owners of the land to which we work and live, and recognise their continuing connection to land, water and community. We pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. We remember all South Africans who have worked tirelessly over the years for the rights for themselves and other people with disabilities and human rights for all. Nothing about us without us. Thank you, guys. How about we start off with some questions? So, thank you again, Anthony, for going to be interviewed. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. So I'm was born and raised in Auckland, New Zealand. I migrated to Australia just over 6 years ago. I was born with a hereditary eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa, which my mother has, my grandfather, and basically all of his brothers have. I have, what else is there? So, and probably over the last 20 years, I've been an audio engineer by trade. I've been a music producer. So basically, that's I've lived in the music realm for most of my life. My family were all music. I was brought up in a musical family. My mother sings and writes songs and was in bands in the past. So from there, as my I'll also say I've been in a couple of bands myself. So my one of the bands I co-founded, and we're quite very successful. We've done national tours of New Zealand and Australia and things like that. Released music videos and full albums. So as the years went on, my vision sort of gets worse and worse, sort of deteriorates. So the job I used to do as an audio engineer sort of became a little bit more difficult as the years goes by. Had to rely on magnification on the computer and things like that. a lot more than I used to. So it sort of made me think of like different career choices I could maybe pursue. So and I guess the reason why I really got into the music industry, I probably go back a little bit more. It's probably started from back in intermediate, primary. Well, our intermediate was very strict. Well, I was a part of a choir in intermediate, and it was the choir teacher was quite strict. So if we didn't perform the song properly at rehearsal, we had to stay in at lunchtime and keep practicing. So I got sort of taught that, to really do things properly and to be disciplined when it came to music. And then from there I went to high school, and then I ended up in different musical groups there. And then from there, I ended up going with a group of people that, we just like to sing together, and had like a cappella group, which is singing with no music. So then it became a stage where we wanted music, and no one really knew how to create the music, like sequence it and things like that, and program it. So I decided that I'll take on that role and learn how to make music for our backings to sing to. So I think that's probably how I sort of got into the audio engineering thing, and that was just because I just wanted to help, and I think my whole passion is just basically around wanting to help people in different ways. So now when I'm thinking about what sort of career change I want to do, I'm really my passion has really been drawn to by helping people with disabilities, and trying to find a path where I can do that.
That's wonderful, Anthony. What comes to mind is that with artistic people, is that there's no really right or wrong with art, and Goulet is an artist, so she can sort of like weigh in on this. So, and I think that the brains of an artistic person works a little bit differently to a mathematical mind, and within the disability sector, we sort of need brains like that because quite often we have to think out of the box when it comes to issues dealing with disability and things that can be done in this space. So I think it's really important to have a whole range of people involved at the NGOs level with different mindsets, and we come together to like find possible solutions for people with disabilities. Yes, so
Yeah, like I was going to say, when I did a lot of radio broadcasting, and we had a whole lot of diversity there, and people. So Anthony, I understand how difficult it could be being an audio engineer with getting all the, all the panels and getting everyone recorded and at the same thing. But we had one presenter, and she she was visually impaired, and she used to actually use blue tack on her CDs, and so she'd know what track it was. And I'm thinking maybe, that might be an option for you to be able to, besides the magnification of looking at the screen, there might be other options to continue your love of music from, adolescence and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I still want to keep pursuing music and things, but not as a. I kind of want to put it on the side as a more of a hobby now, and sort of look into doing something in the disability sector as a more of the career. So, and yeah, I've looked at a lot of different assistive technology things that may be able to help. But the difficult part is with the software I use, there's so many, it's like thousands of different third-party little plugins you use within the program, which it's difficult to sort of get software to work with those sort of things because they're not very accessible, and it would be quite difficult to get them all accessible. And if they were, it would be a lot slower to do what's needed to be done. Whereas, if you might just want to open up a certain plugin that you just want to turn a knob just a little bit and then click close, that should be only like a couple of seconds. Whereas if I had to use some accessible software, then that couple of second job might be a minute job. So that sort of can add up. But yeah, I think but technology is advancing so much nowadays, and that's another area that I'm very passionate about, is the technology and innovation of technology.
Could you see that as a career path, Anthony?
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's probably one of my passions is to try and combine my love of technology and innovation with the disability sector, and maybe trying to develop different products and things like that will help different people with disabilities.
Have you had any programming type of exposure?
No,
In terms
no,
of the programming?
no.
Yeah. Well, maybe that could be something you can follow up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, so I think we talked a little bit about this, but can you tell us what goals you have achieved and how you navigated your way around to achieve these goals?
Well, in my music career, I basically specialized in helping up and coming artists that really didn't have any financial resources to record and things like that. So I'll my I wasn't too worried about the getting paid and things like that. It was just my passion for my passion for music, and my passion for wanting to help that person succeed and give them a stepping stone to maybe getting the record deal. So I've done that for quite a few artists. I've gave them that stepping stone and produced their first single. I've put it on radio, got it played on radio for them, got them a record deal. So yeah, things like that. um, my the band I co-founded. I was in charge of our social media profiles and things like that, and sort of built our following up. And we all worked together, worked hard to um, you know find gigs and create songs and just progress to making music videos and actually getting a professional album recorded and released.
How long
Um,
would that take you, Anthony? Like, it's quite a competitive market out there, and you're being successful with people and your band and other people's songs and things. That's a really good skill to have.
yeah, well, see, in New Zealand, it is a smaller population than Australia here. So and I had over the years I built up a lot of connections. So I had connections of people in the radio industry with what did they call them? The programmers that uh, make the well sort of say what songs are going on the radio and things like that.
DJs.
Yeah, program would it be
Producers?
program manager maybe. I can't remember the exact word now, but anyway, they're in charge of sort of what songs are played on the radio. So I knew a few of those people in different in few of the popular radio stations in New Zealand. So I was lucky in that way I could get in the door there. But in terms of time frame, it kind of and also I can't actually send in any song to these people and they'll play it. I got to make sure I send them a good product. So that's probably the main part of what I need to do is just make sure that the artist song is great, that's been produced great, and that everything sounds great for radio. And there's also radio has sort of rules that the song can't be over a certain length and different formats and whatnot. So but yeah, so I think and so when your question about time frame, what did you mean from sort of like once the song is ready and then
Well, when you start writing it with your friends or your band members, and then from like day one to having it on radio, like how could that happen quickly, or does it take a smaller length of time, or is it just knowing that it'll take the process that it will take?
yeah, it varies for different songs. Some songs could take a lot longer than others. One song could only take 10 minutes to write, and another song could take a couple of years. But yeah, and it all depends on um, just how that song is received. Um, but I'd say the quickest time would probably be if we kind of wrote the song a day and then maybe I'd say a couple of months maybe.
So, what makes a
Do
really good
this.
song, Anthony? What makes a good song? Like, how do you know that that's the one?
Well, see, I go off by my own taste, so I kind of I know what I like, I know what a lot of my friends like. I I observe other people's what they like, and kind of gather up all that information, and then sort of think, okay, this could be a great song, and sometimes it does work out, and sometimes it doesn't. But I think I just I just go by if I really like it, then I know a lot of people would probably like it. If I think it's okay, then I might, I might not be as passionate about releasing that one. But then sometimes there are songs like that I've thought, it's okay, but then people like that one more. So you just never know.
You could have another Bohemian Rhapsody in your catalogue. Do you know the story behind that?
Behind what? Sorry.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Ah, yes, yes.
Yes. So, would you like to explain it to Claire? So, do you know the story behind Bohemian Rhapsody?
Um, well, let me know because I've only
So, who sang that? Was it Queen?
yes.
Anyway, so Queen wrote this song, and in this song they wanted this song to be different, unique. So they wanted to incorporate opera and all these different types of genres into one song. So they wrote the song, they recorded the song, took it to a producer, and they knocked it back, not because it wasn't any good, but because the song ran for about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, and they don't play that on radio.
And
Yeah.
so it got knocked back until someone picked it up and decided to run with it. And look where it is now. It's one of the classics of modern music.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of great stories like that from iconic bands and artists.
Mm. So yes, so that's you could have one of those under your belt, I think, and not know it. And
Yeah, well, that's one of those things that does happen. That there's probably a lot of artists, well-known artists out there that have probably not even released songs that they really didn't like, and they probably might have been one of their biggest hits.
I the latest hit, well, which is from a young woman who was pretty down and out, for what I could understand, a dance monkey. So, are you familiar with the story behind Dance Monkey?
No.
So, the actual, I can't remember her name, but she was actually busking, she was actually living on the streets. And she wrote Dance Monkey, and it became an instant hit, and it was picked up by some other. You know how songs have been picked up for different shows, and because she wrote it and sung it, she gets all the royalties, doesn't she?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
she's basically now a millionaire. This girl.
yeah.
So she, yeah, and coming from being like on the streets to now being a millionaire. So that's a really good, great story. So it just
Mm,
shows you that when you have belief in yourself and what you can do in life, anything's possible.
yeah, exactly.
So how about we move on? So we've like covered this to a degree. So I'll re-ask the question and maybe you could add something to it. So so how, really, if you look at how you empower yourself to achieve these goals, I suppose you can start from the start really, because I think that for what you're saying, your family had connections in the music business. Did that make it easier for you to empower yourself in this really competitive industry?
Yeah, well, it wasn't my family that had connections in the music industry. It was basically, um, well, when I left school, I decided I bought myself my first sequencer, which creates music. So I just program in music into it to make backing tracks. But and then I think I bought my first computer a year later, which is probably in the late '90s, and and I didn't know what a computer could be used for when I first got it. And then I found out that I could actually do music on it. And so I started recording on it and just plugged the microphone into the back of the computer and sort of started from there. So I sort of started. Well, I actually went and done a audio engineering course as well, so I could sort of get my skills and hone my skills and whatnot. And then probably a year or so later, a local record label started, and a few of my friends uh, were signed to that label. And by that time, I was pretty proficient at making hip hop music and different things like that. So I was approached by that record label to make music for their artists, and then after that I was asked to mix the songs for the artists, which is basically, for those who don't know, is um, getting all the raw tracks that make up a song, like all the individual recordings of the vocals and all the individual recordings of the instruments, and compressing them, EQing them, putting different effects on them, and sort of getting it ready to be released on radio. So it's basically just, and going back to my connections, it's basically just I just gathered and met a whole lot of people just along throughout the years, and sort of my services were sort of spread around through word of mouth. So I got to know quite a lot of people that way.
So this channel was set up to empower people with disabilities. What you're describing is really self-determination.
Yeah,
It's based on a passion. So, like in the YouTube world, so they'll put that out there to people that, you know, you may think, the goal is really difficult to reach, but with passion, determination, and lots of skill and experience, you get experience volunteering and, just getting your name out there and just doing things really. Yes. So nothing comes from nothing. Yeah. So
yeah. I think the passion for what you're doing is a huge thing, and having that determination to want to um, achieve that passion with no matter sort of what sort of hurdles are in your way, I think is important. And if you do have that passion, then I feel it's a lot easier to really want to tackle some of the hurdles that may come, and and then you'll find solutions, find ways around things. Yeah, I think that's really important.
Well, look at you. You're going from music industry to, potentially finding work in the disability area. Now, it's all, I think in life, attitude is really important. No matter, you can be the most uh, brainiest person on earth, if you have an attitude that's not that doesn't serve that IQ level, then really it's really a lost chance in life. So good on you, Anthony, for trying new things and leading the way for people with disabilities to yeah, to possibly go after their passions.
And I
Think
think
about
another quick point is like, not, not saying no to different opportunities. Like sometimes we may get an opportunity that if we thought about it, we might think, oh, okay, no, I probably won't be able to do that because of this and that. And I think if you just kind of just say, yes, I'll do it, and just go into it and find out whether you can or can't, that's the better way of doing it. And maybe the end situation is you went in there and you found out that, okay, this was a bit of a challenge, but I found a way around it. Or maybe it might be you went into there and, okay, yeah, it's probably, I can't probably do that, but just go in and do it and find out for real, rather than not doing it and not knowing.
Anthony, what opportunities and challenges are available to, say, mainstream Australians that aren't there for people, say, from your background?
Okay, so being a New Zealand citizen, I'll probably have to sort of explain things a little bit. So as a New Zealand citizen, when I enter the country, into Australia, as soon as my passport is checked in customs, I'm automatically given a what do they call it, a special category visa, which basically gives me the right to work and live in Australia indefinitely. But there are two different special category visas that New Zealand citizens can have. One is protected, one is unprotected. So if I was living in Australia on February 26, 2001, then I would be a protected New Zealand citizen, which basically gives me the permanent residency status in Australia. But because I arrived after that date and wasn't living in Australia, then I'm an unprotected New Zealand citizen. So I am basically classed as a temporary resident. So in saying that, so that makes me ineligible for different services in Australia, like the NDIS and job access.
So you don't have the same support.
Yeah, and the I mean, there's so much support that I am eligible for here, which I'm very grateful for, and it's it's been really life-changing from the different organizations that has supported me. But yeah, the NDIS I'm not eligible for, and job access I'm not eligible for, which is a huge hurdle for my journey to, wanting to gain employment and things like that. So if I needed different assistive things to help me in the workplace, I'm not eligible for that support through job access or anything like that. But it goes back to my determination. I just refuse to let anything stop me. So I will find a way to make it happen, and it's just what I've always done. I actually quite like challenges. So when I do have a challenge, I like trying to find how to resolve that problem or that challenge.
Have you thought about any philanthropic type of trusts? Because I know the music industry sort of like try to set up these things for struggling artists that fall on hard times. There's all these different categories, I suppose. Have you investigated that at all?
No, I haven't.
Perhaps that may be something you could investigate in the future.
Yeah, because like I'm thinking of an organisation called Arts Access Victoria, and
Hmm.
they've just newly have mentorships for people in the music industry. So people listening out there or watching this and thinking, oh, there's some blockages or challenges, but if you, like you said, Anthony, if you really want to do something, you'll go that way. But there are organisations out there that help build that little bridge.
Hmm. Yeah, I have had a quick look at what was the place you called? Arts Access.
Yeah, Arts Access Victoria.
Yeah, I had a quick look at a lot of different programs because I wanted to sort of join a few of them, but yeah, a lot of them were sort of NDIS sort of uh, programs where I either needed to be an NDIS participant or yeah, pay the quite expensive things that I can't afford at this point. Yeah.
Hmm.
Can I ask you, Anthony? You said that there were certain hoops you had to jump, and you got quite a bit of support from I think you said government agencies. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, um, did you have to really struggle to find that information, or did you approach any sort of advocacy organisation?
So you mean the organisations that have supported me while I've been here? You're talking
Yes.
about those ones?
Yes.
Yeah. So uh, when I arrived, I had to go do my get eye examinations and things like that for Centrelink and different things like that. So with my optometrist, they kind of automatically referred me to different organisations like Vision Australia and Guide Dogs Victoria and things like that. And yeah, those two organisations have helped me immensely. And I guess um, um, yeah, I kind of had another thought that jumped into my head, but I might leave that for another. So what was the
The question.
question you asked?
So, did did you have assistance from advocacy organisations to get support in Australia?
No, I didn't know any of advocacy organizations or anything. So I basically got referred to by my optometrist, um, and then those organizations contacted me directly after that. So, yeah.
Hmm. I know that with culture and intersectionality causes quite a few issues for the current disability populations. Sometimes more than others. So, did your culture cause a barrier to reach your full potential, or is it inclusive?
I think overall my culture is very supportive and inclusive of disability. Um, I don't know. Um, well, this could be a cultural thing or thing, but I find that um a lot of us um, are afraid to ask for help, and that's um, those with and without disabilities. Maybe it's something like it's a sign of weakness or something like that, or um, I don't know what it is, but I think that part is probably one of the things that kind of can have the potential to hold us back. Because I've sort of growing up, I've always felt like I didn't want to ask for help. And when I finally did, it was very liberating. And I think to add to my story earlier, like one of the achievements I feel was actually accepting my disability and accepting that I needed to use certain aids like a white cane and things to navigate around. And I think that was probably one of my I feel it's probably one of my greatest achievements really is just being able to really accept my disability, whereas for a lot of years I was trying to hide it. I was pretending I didn't have a disability kind of thing. So yeah.
So, what was the crux of it? When did you actually say, I'm accepting who I am as I am? Like, was there a certain situation that propelled you forward to think that way?
I think it was when I moved to Australia, just over 6 years ago. I had, basically didn't know. Well, we can tell you the story how I got here. It's quite an interesting story. So I think it was 2013. I decided I wanted to move to Australia. We had done a tour of Australia for my band in 2012. So I thought, Melbourne. We came to Melbourne a couple of times, and I actually really liked the feel of the place, and met a few people here. So I thought, oh, okay, yeah, I really want to move to Melbourne. So, and the reason why is because the cost of living in New Zealand was really, really hard. was quite struggling to pay bills and all that sort of thing. So I made the decision, okay, I'm gonna move over here. Didn't know how, didn't know who I was gonna stay with. So I basically put a post on a Facebook group called Kiwis in Melbourne. And I put on that post, does anyone have a spare room for for me? I wasn't actually expecting anyone to get back, but somebody got back, and it was a beautiful family that said, "Yep, sure, we've got a couple of rooms." And then as that was happening, because it was supposed to only be me going over by myself, and then I was going to set myself up and then bring my mum over later. Excuse me. But then certain circumstances happened with her that we both decided to go over. So yeah, that family had room for both of us. So we didn't know them from a bar of soap. We basically, I spoke to them 1 week, and then 2 weeks later we turned up on their doorstep. And they're absolutely amazing. But you know, when I think back about it, I think, that was a bit crazy, but it, for me, it felt right. So, and again, I'm determined to make things happen. Kind of might have gone off track a little bit. So, what was the question?
So it was more around what propelled you forward to say, look, and accepting having a disability. That was what it was. What made you think I'm okay to be who I am, and things like that.
Yeah. So so while I was here, like not knowing too many people, and not knowing the area at all, so I was kind of isolated at home a lot. And then I thought, I've got to do something about this. My eyesight had deteriorated to the point where I can't sort of travel in unfamiliar areas by myself without assistance anymore, or without. So anyway, I decided to get orientation and mobility training, and my biggest sort of I had a attitude, something about using a white cane, because I didn't want to stand out. And so I think it was from that part, it really sort of dawned on me when, going out in public and basically, people know that I have a disability because I'm, walking around with a cane, and it not feeling as what I probably had thought it would feel like. It was, actually super liberating to do that. And then I think that was the point where I really really accepted it honestly into my, in myself.
Yeah.
So what you're describing is feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
So is that about right?
Yeah. Because I knew it had that, it was going to do me good, but my mindset wasn't in the right place. So once I just went and did it, then I think, everything's worked out.
Yeah, well, I know that with your cane, it's a visible disability. but there are also lots of disabilities that are invisible, and acquired brain injury is one of those.
Mm.
And it affects people in different ways. There's no really. Sometimes people are misdiagnosed or um, are seen to be maybe you know um, trying to fool people because they're trying to be normal, whatever that word means.
Yeah.
There's lots of mental health issues out there which are also invisible, which are now becoming more prominent in the community. And I think the NDIS have recognised that now. Lots of social, what is it? Um, People that are socially not disconnected, socially, can't think of the word, social phobias. They have
Mm.
social phobias, which is being recognised now. So if you do have some sort of hidden disability, don't be afraid or ashamed to come out there and join groups, be around people who have the same disability. I have friends, a lot of friends in the disability sector, and I think I understand what they say now is that when you're around people with the same disability, um, you learn things from each other.
Yeah.
You learn how to deal with attitudes and all sorts of things. And you also like you you, you like try your thinking changes. So it changes because you sometimes when you hear people talk, you think, oh, that's how I feel. That's how I have the same sort of issue, and you then have a platform to workshop how to get around certain issues, and you learn different organisations and how they deal with disability. They could be a resource to you. So don't be afraid to get out there and to explore these things, because I think that having a voice and being empowered are really essential to human development. And if you're sort of like hiding behind, or not hiding, but if you're scared and you're scared to get out there and do things, uh, I think it actually doesn't help your development in life. And sooner or later, you know, family, people move on and your families like become don't become very supportive in lots of cultures. So supporting yourself is actually crucial. Having self determination, like Anthony, a lot of people I know in society in the disability sector, to go out there and not to be afraid and live your best life, live your own life, and you will surprise yourself in what you can do. And let's face it, we all have limitations. It doesn't matter who we are. So if you go by that fact, we all have limitations in life. Just go for it, and you will surprise yourself.
Yeah, Anthony was saying that. He was also saying how when he wants to do something, he does it. Like you do that, don't you, Anthony? You don't. If you really want to do something, you don't let anything stand in your way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can be quite bullheaded when it comes to things like that. I don't think about the consequences or whether um, I can or can't do something. Yeah, I like to just get in and do something because I find myself if I think about things too much, I won't do it.
And being pig-headed in a positive way is
Yeah,
actually good for you.
yeah,
I was always told you can't do this because you're a girl or whatever reason that the powers that be who no longer owned my life, tried to defy me. And I think, but why? I had teachers saying stupid things. It was in the 80s, and I never really accepted their arguments. I did my own thing. And, in the end, things did work out for my better good. And, and things can work out for you too. In YouTube land, things can work out. You just have to take that first step in life and get out there. Just get out there and show the world what you're made out of. Because we know, all the people in DnD steering committee know, we've had lots of challenges coming from a disablement type of background. And we've all gone out there and made our own mark in society. So, yeah, I just encourage people to take that first step.
And I can, sorry, and it can be a struggle to get to that type of mindset. I didn't sort of wake up one day and then boom, that sort of mindset happened. It was I do a lot of reading of different people, and I listen to a lot of podcasts that sort of personal development type things that really makes what's the word,
Motivation.
yeah, like motivates, but more, it instills a healthier mindset. So I look at different people with disabilities that have achieved amazing things, and sort of I look at sort of what I try and look at, like, how did they get to that point? And it's always just a great mindset. And so how do they get that great mindset? So and it's just I'm sort of constantly gathering all these sort of types of information just to keep my mindset on the right path, because I think it's, for me, it's easy to not stay focused and to let things get on top of you. So yeah, I think that's it's important to it's have that motivation, but I don't want people to expect themselves to have just straight away have that drive and that determination. It can come slower, and just let it take its course, and let it come naturally.
There's a great new movie out at the moment, Penguin Bloom. Penguin Bloom, I think it's called. It's about a woman who broke her back. She went to Thailand and broke her back, and had to rebuild her life. And it basically is what you're saying, Anthony, about like her losing hope, and her husband and family never lost hope, and so she was always involved in water sports. So eventually, when she got over feeling, like it's hopeless, her husband got her involved in kayaking, and she found a trainer, and they found a trainer, and to cut a long story really short, she became 2 times world champion in kayaking, and she became a world champion in modified surfboarding. So, and if you see the movie, the struggle and determination and the loss of hope, and it's just that the stepping stone. She needed stepping stones and hope for the future. And look, the things happen to us in life are not good, but it's our mindset that actually gets us through life. And to be positive is definitely a better way to live life.
Yeah,
I would like to have
definitely.
about 5 minutes left, Anthony.
Mhm.
Is there anything pressing, Goulet, you'd like to ask Anthony at all?
I'm thinking, how do we bottle up all this wonderful information that you've just told us, Anthony, about, having a goal, doing it, following it, don't let anything get in your way? Like, what would someone viewing us, what would you say to them? Like, what's one thing that you could say to them that that's you're passing the baton on to someone else?
Um, Probably basically just if really find something that you're passionate about, and find something that you think about all the time, that that really fires that fire in your heart, in your stomach, and then once you have that thought in your mind, then find a way to pursue that without putting any sort of restrictions on yourself, I guess. And um and if you have trouble finding that motivation to get to make that passion happen, maybe you know there's a lot of resources on online now that basically you can type in anything, like how do I get more confidence in a certain area, how do I do this, and as you gather more knowledge, and you get more confident in what you're doing, and just let it snowball, and um yeah
Thank
yeah,
you.
just go for it.
Well, Anthony Rako, thank you for your great interview. And
Thank you so much for having me.
we have to do the acknowledgement of funding now, so I'll just go to that. So, your life, your voice project. I'd like to thank the MRC Northwest Management for their support they give to the DnD Your Life, Your Voice project. This YouTube channel is funded by the Victorian DHHS and Moreland City Council. And DnD would like to thank them for providing funding to this progressive, out of the box project, especially in these times living through a pandemic. COVID has been especially difficult for people living with disabilities and isolation. This channel is especially for them, and in the next sessions, we'll be providing information and support on COVID-19 and lockdown. We'd like to thank our guest speaker for today, and this project would like your ideas on NDIS topics and guest speakers you would like us to present. Email us or leave any comments on dndyyourlifeyourvoice at gmail.com. That's the end of our session, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time on a Monday. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.